Hey, what's going on? My name is Jan and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about National Treasure 3. Yep, we've got an update for National Treasure 3, and as Collider has put it, we have got an update that is gold-plated. So here it is, the National Treasure 3 just got a gold-plated update. When it comes to beloved Disney live-action franchises, few have captured the hearts of audiences quite like National Treasure. The action-adventure film starring Nicolas Cage thrilled moviegoers in the mid-2000s, but despite the strong box office of The Last Treasure Hunt of 2007's Book of Secrets, a third film was never made. It looked like for over a decade that Jerry Bruckheimer produced series would stay buried, but recently there have been a few exciting clues to a possible third film. Now, screenwriter Ted Elliott, who worked on the previous National Treasure installments, has just given us arguably a National Treasures 3's biggest update. In a recent interview on National Treasure Hunt podcast via Screen Rant, Elliott talked about the progress the sequel was making. The good news is he's done with National Treasure 3's first draft, although nobody has gotten it yet. He would then go into what fans could expect from the sequel, saying Riley has changed more than anybody else. If you just look at the 2 points that are established for him in the first and second movies, in the first one, he is this uninformed audience. That's the role he plays. Elliot would continue on. He's the guy who says, "What are you talking about there?" In the second one, he's written a book about crypto history, and he's right. He knows something Ben didn't about history. I just have to think that that's continued. It becomes more difficult to do history expositions because there are things Riley can know now in terms of writing the third movie. There is, I think, a change to Ben and Riley's inner relationship that I think both actors will really enjoy. National Treasure Edge of History is canon. So Riley Poole was played by the lovable Justin Batherin in both films. However, the actor most recently reprised his iconic role in the short-lived Disney Plus series National Treasure Edge of History. In 2022, the series focused on a core new group of young treasure hunters led by Lisette Olivero and Jake Austin Walker, yet there were ties to the larger universe, with Bartha Harvey Keitel's agent Sudusky and Armando Risco's agent Hendrix being key figures in the adventure. The underrated series never got a second season, but Elliott hinted that Edge of History won't be forgotten to time. Agent Sudusky is dead. I'm treating the TV series as canon. I'm trying to do something different with the FBI than was done in the previous two movies. He would further elaborate. There's still the pursuers, there's still the force for law and order, but just the way they operate. I'm trying to do something just a little bit different. In the series, it was revealed that Hendrix was secretly the evil Salzia and killed Sudusky. Further corruption in the FBI may be what he's referring to. Since National Treasure 3 is still in the early stages of development, we still don't know what the treasure cages Ben Gates and his team will hunt down next. However, it was teased by Elliott in the same interview that Cage, Bartha, and Diane Kruger were being looked at to return. This would be despite Cage's previous comments earlier this year. The trio might not be the only familiar faces coming back. Either, as screenwriter has suggested, other franchise favourites could make appearances. This could mean anyone from Sean Bean to Helen Mirren, but it also it may also include some Edge of History alums like Olivera. The series did tease a team up with Cage throughout its only season, while fans eagerly await more National Treasure 3 news. Along with what's actually on page 47, you can relive both previous films and Edge of History on Disney Plus. I never watched Edge of History. I never watched it. And it wasn't... The thing is, and the reason why I didn't watch it was because I knew it wasn't going to be good. And you may be like, well, how did you know that? When they first announced it, I was like, this is either going to work or it's not. And the reason it didn't work, and I knew it wouldn't work when it first was announced, was because it didn't have the core cast. You know, it's a bit like... It was one of them shows, weren't it, where they did it to see whether people had interest in the IP. And it turns out that people had interest in the original IP. And National Treasure 3, of course, is being written and being done. What's my take on this? I mean, making the show canon to this makes perfect sense. because the show's happened. You might as well acknowledge what happened in the show. Because if you don't, then the show was kind of pointless. I mean, it was pointless really anyway. But it could get more people to watch the show before watching 3 to find out what happened. So that's probably why they're doing that. But also, he says by making the show canon, there's a lot more things he can do with the FBI because of what was teased. And I think, he's totally right there. Like I said, I haven't watched the show, so I don't know what that tease was. But from what they said is that there was a tease at the end of it when one of the agents was killed. And I honestly think that's right. I honestly think that you've got to look at it from a point of view where National Treasure 3, there hasn't been a National Treasure film in nearly 20 years. It would be, 17 years, I think, since the last National Treasure film, if my math is correct. And people want this. It's going to be a nostalgia legacy movie. It's going to cap off National Treasure. Will Nicolas Cage return? Of course he's going to return, let's be honest. They wouldn't be doing this film if they couldn't get the 3 stars to return. If they were like, would you return? And they went, no, they wouldn't have bothered. Because if they can't get them to return, then there's no legacy sequel. There is no nostalgic feel. It's just another National Treasure. It would be a bit like the Lady Ghostbusters film, where it would, and a bit like Edge of Tomorrow, where it really had not much connection to the originals that came before it. But then, of course, Edge of Tomorrow kind of did. Is it Edge? No, not Edge of Tomorrow. No, what am I on about? Edge of History. I don't know why I said Edge of Tomorrow. That's a Tom Cruise film. But yeah, no, Edge of History. It had that interconnective time that was woven in, and if you recast, it just won't have that same feel. So Nicolas Cage will probably return. Otherwise, this film won't be made. I don't think, or this iteration won't be made. I should probably point out. Edge of History. Impact on it, I think, would be kind of interesting. That means that I myself will probably now watch the show when National Treasure 3's trailer drops. Be like, okay, I'll watch it just to see what's happened. Rewatch the first 2. Watch this for the first time, and then I'll take a look at the 3rd film. Again, having the trio back, you need that trio back. I mean, that's what makes legacy films legacy, really, isn't it? If you look at legacy type movies, or movies that have gone back on itself, it's been the original trio that have really stood the test of time. And of course, you're like, well, okay, name me some. Bad Boys, you had Will Smith, Martin Lawrence. That's a buddy cop duo. But it also had the Captain. They brought back the original Captain. They could have recast him completely, but they brought back the Captain. That's the trio. And then, of course, he was recast for 4. But that was because the storyline went that way. Ghostbusters, Afterlife, you brought back the... I mean, there were 4, well, there was 5 towards the end of Ghostbusters 2, but there was 3 original Ghostbusters in that film that wanted to return, that could return. So you need, that's the legacy trio returning on screen. Very exciting. Wasn't a big part of the film. They were in the movie, but they didn't really have a major role. And same for Frozen Empire when they came back. That was kind of cool. Then you look at something like Beverly Hills Cops, Axel F. That original trio returned. So there's various things there. There's things that work pretty well, and bringing back the original trio would be an interesting way to do it. It would work. Is what I'm trying to point out. It wouldn't work if you brought back. I mean, I think if you bring back Cage, I think it would work anyway. But let's say Cage wasn't in it, but the rest, it wouldn't work, I think, as well. And I think if you lose one of them, it wouldn't work as well, because you wouldn't have that band, that sort of trio band to that connection that you couldn't do offhanded comments that longtime fans like myself would understand, because that wouldn't be the trio. So I think, if they're going to do this, Nicolas Cage and, the original trio, they're going to be in it. And yeah, I mean, it's very exciting to to hear that this is happening. The script, the first draft is done. They just now need to get to the final draft and then production and then start shooting and then, you know, do all the prep for it and then get the movie out there. I could see this film being released 2027 as like a 20th anniversary of like the last National Treasure film. I could see that happening. Disney aren't going to let this IP just drop off the face of the earth now. You know, it's been dormant for 17 years, 15 years before the show released. So I think, you know, National Treasure 3 will come. They will definitely be doing something with it. And yeah, you know, I'm very excited that, you know, this update is exciting news. It's breaking news, essentially, on the whole National Treasure 3 front. But let me know your thoughts. Are you excited for this film? Did you know this film was even a thing? Because this film's been spoken about for like 15 years, right? That's how big this film, you know, how big of a scope this film is. It's been spoken about for 15 years. And are you guys excited for National Treasure 3? Are you guys, you know, do you want it to happen? Who would you like to be in it? Do you want the trio to return? I mean, the trio's got to return, surely. But let me know all your thoughts in the comment section down below. Drop a like on the video. Hit the subscribe button. Turn on the notification bell. And as always, I'll catch you in the next one. Stay cinematic. See you all soon. Goodbye for now.